Adams is speaking out. Let's listen in.
Be dismissed. Finally ending a months-long saga that put me, my family, and this city through an unnecessary ordeal. As I said from the outset, I never broke the law, and I never would. I would never put any personal benefit above my solemn responsibility as your mayor. It is worth repeating the facts because many sensational and false claims have been made. So let me be clear. I never asked anyone to break the law on my behalf or on behalf of my campaign. Never. And I absolutely never traded my power as an elected official for any personal benefit. No witness ever came forward publicly to make claims against me. None of the baseless threats from prosecutors of new charges and new evidence ever materialized. And this case will no longer continue. Psalms 34:1 says, I will bless the Lord at all times. His praise shall continually be in my mouth. So I thank the Justice Department for its honesty. Now we can put this cruel episode behind us and focus entirely on the future of our city. It's time to move forward. But despite the fact that I am no longer facing legal questions, I also understand that many New Yorkers will still question my character. And I know that I must continue to regain your trust. I've learned a lot over the last year, and this experience has been humbling. But as we have been dragged through this unfortunate prosecution, I never took my eyes off what was important, you and your family's future. And because of that, our city government has never been stronger. Just look at the figures. We have achieved record drops in crime, record increases in affordable housing, and the highest number of jobs in New York City history. And I want to repeat that. Double-digit drops in shootings, homicides, and subway crimes. The most new housing built in a 3-year period ever, and the most jobs ever. We moved more than 185,000 migrants through our system and out of our care. We helped put $30 billion back into the pockets of New Yorkers through direct assistance. And we enrolled more children than ever into early childhood education programs while reducing the cost of childcare to less than 1/10 of what it was when we came into office for working families. We put thousands of new police officers on our streets and in our subways. And we connected thousands struggling with mental illness to services. That's right. Hidden beneath all the shocking headlines, full of rumors and accusations, all the innuendos and insinuations, the real news is that the women and men of my administration have delivered for the working people of New York, just like I promised we would. Those are the facts. Many people continue to feed whatever false narratives they want, but no one can dispute the numbers. Continue to improve those numbers even more month after month, and dedicating myself to the values and fights that New Yorkers believe in is how I will restore the faith in those who have lost it in me. And it will be how I reward the faith of those who believed in me for 4 years ago. Giving hope again to all New Yorkers who want to see their city thrive. If you want to know who I am, all you have to know about me is where I am from. Who I am is not in the headlines. It is in my history. It's the same place as you, working class, struggling to survive, in love with this city, even when it lets us down. I grew up in a place where justice always seemed out of reach. My family was betrayed by a city that didn't care enough about us. And that's why I fought for you and will keep fighting for you, because I am you. And that is why you can trust me to keep moving this city forward. This has been the most difficult 15 months of my life. But my inspiration was knowing I was fighting for the people of this city. So many of those people are still facing their own difficult challenges every day, just like my own mother did when she worked 3 jobs to raise 6 children. If you work hard enough, New York City should give you a chance to succeed. This is our great promise. This is my promise to you. Hard work, real results. In a city, and a mayor you can be proud of. Thank you, New York.
We have just heard from Mayor Adams for the first time since the Justice Department ordered the corruption charges against him dropped.
The mayor maintained his innocence, laid out his administration's accomplishments, and did not take any questions. Marcia Kramer is still with us here on the desk. And Marcia, you knew that you predicted that he was going to maintain his innocence. He also, despite the fact that he can't really campaign, there was a message to future voters in there.
Well, I think that there are 3 parts to what happened. 1, he said he never did anything wrong and was very strong about it. 2, and I think this is really important, it was a dose of honesty. He said, I know that people will still have questions about my character, and I have to prove myself to them. And 3, there was, as you point out, a dose of a little bit of campaigning where he said, I'm going to be working for the people, but he goes, I am you.
Right.
I am working class. I'm struggling to survive just like you. And then, of course, he listed a lot of his accomplishments that he claims he's done, including reducing crime and building more housing, et cetera. But I think the message here was this was a humble mayor who said, this was the worst 15 months of my life. I know I have a lot to prove. I have a lot to prove to voters that I am going to be there for them. The reason why that's important is that the decision by the Justice Department to do what they did calls into question whether he has loyalty to the people of New York or to Washington and President Trump and what cards they would hold over him. So I think it was important to say, I'm for you and I am you.
Yeah, I mean, it was very eloquent. It's worth mentioning these charges were dismissed without prejudice, meaning, of course, they could ultimately be brought back, but not until after the next mayoral election. How likely, in your experience, in your opinion, do you think it is that they would be brought back at some point?
Well, I mean, I actually spoke to some legal experts last night about that, and they said it's it would be unusual once a U.S. attorney or a prosecutor had gone to a judge and said, let's dismiss them. But it does give the Justice Department and, of course, the Trump administration something to hold over the mayor's head and to say, you know, to keep him in line to do the things they want him to. Remember, in this memorandum, it talked about the fact that one of the reasons was that the case prevented him from fully cooperating with their desire to deport migrants. Now, the reason is this. When he was indicted, his security clearances were canceled. And so one of the things that they said in this memo was, we want you to restore his security clearances so he can fully cooperate with our probes into migrants who've committed crimes and who should be deported.
I see.
Now he can move forward. You know, and the DOJ was saying because this is going to interfere in his reelection. So that's going to probably be obviously his focus now. What do we know about polls and how people are feeling about the mayor?
Well, his poll numbers are really down right now. But as he pointed out when I had a conversation with him 2 weeks ago, in February of the year 2021, when he was running for mayor, all the headlines said that he was not going to win, that it was Andrew Yang who was the big poll person. And of course, he won. So between now and the primary in June, a lot can happen. And then also we have to see who else gets into the race.
Adams has been somewhat quiet on issues such as congestion pricing. We know the president has a mind to undo congestion pricing. What do you make of that? Do you think that this is, we know the deportation aspect, but are there other avenues in which the president might use him in the city to sort of accomplish his agenda?
Well, the one thing I can tell you about congestion pricing, the mayor has steered away from that. But the reason is because he doesn't control the MTA. He goes, this isn't my baby, it's the governor's baby, it's the legislature's baby. And he's absolutely right on that. He has 4 appointees on a large MTA board. The governor has more appointees.
All right, Marcia, thank you so much for all your insight. Appreciate it.
Stay with CBS News New York for continuing coverage of this big breaking story. You can get any new developments on our website, cbsnewyork.com.
And just ahead on CBS News New York, it looks fine outside right now, but what a difference it will be in just hours. Tony has more on our next chance for snow.